like I said, an actor. They're helping me. Otherwise, I would like lose my mind. So it just kind of depends. I have a lot of really great people coming on board and helping. Amazing photographers, you know, amazing stylists, and we're gonna actually launch it in Manchester, England in September. Fingers crossed. This is what we're going for if all goes well. So yeah. So
how can we find this magazine? What's the website or what's the name?
It's called Foxes Magazine, and right now you can go to Foxes Cosmetics, and then there's a link for the magazine. But it will be foxesmagazine.com. And I'm getting ready to put the website up to have the press kit on there. And then anyone that wants to advertise, you know, that's how you sign up for advertising. That's how you contact us about modeling, anything. If you're a guitar maker, if you're a fashion designer for men's clothing, you know, anything like that, you'll be able to go on there, and then you can contact me, and we go from there. But it's going to be amazing. It's a one of a kind. There's going to be nothing like it.
Amazing, great. So you still have your cosmetic company?
I do. I still have the cosmetic line. Right now, I'm selling strictly online. I put so much into the magazine lately that I unfortunately haven't put so much into the cosmetic line. I am going to be selling at the Mermaid Parade though, which is next weekend in Coney Island. And I make up bags, and so like it'll be like one based on Julian Casablancas from the Strokes, or a Jack White bag, or a Kurt Cobain bag, which sells out every time.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like the Kurt Cobain one, you can't even keep them in. Mark Bolan, so they're rock and roll bags, and they'll have like 2 shimmers and a glitter, like sample sizes. And then I'm also looking, right now I have a few sales reps that are gonna help me in LA. I've got one in Hawaii, and I'll start focusing on the cosmetics again once this magazine's up. You know, it's just like, right now the magazine is kind of like my baby because it's actually so much fun. And I'm still using the makeup on some of the guys, you know. I mean, there's certain bands that wear glitter, and so I'm using the glitter on those bands. And I have some amazing bands that we're getting ready to shoot. I'm just not going to say names yet. And we're in negotiations with a couple big-time producers, you know, about talking to music producers, and yeah. And I just moved to New York a month ago from LA to get this going. Mm-hmm. So we'll get it launched in Manchester, and then I'm going to Nashville after that to start working on the next issue, and then I'm going back to LA, and that it'll be based out of between Manchester and LA.
Okay, what are you doing here in New York then? How did you end up here?
Well, I came here to start the magazine. I had a photographer that I came here with, and we just had creative differences, so it just didn't go the right way. I want to do more music, you know, more rock and roll, and she wants to do more fashion. But it was kind of like, you know, Europe's close, so I knew I was going to be, all the bands that I do, except for maybe 10 of them, are all in London and Sweden and Denmark. So I knew that here being the base to start this was going to be a lot easier for me to get back and forth. And a lot of bands will tour here that won't tour to the States, to California. So that's what got me here. And once it's launched, then I'm back home. You know, I'll be back and forth, but I think I'm going to be back and forth between Europe and LA. A lot's going on in Nashville also, which we're going to do a whole thing in the magazine on the Nashville scene.
Isn't Nashville like a little bit more country than rock and roll?
It used to be, but you know, Jack White put his studio there. The Black Keys put their studio there. All the record labels are moving there, and we're going to do a whole, like inside this issue is going to be a whole thing on how the music industry has changed so much in Nashville. Like everybody thinks, oh, you know, country music.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's becoming like the rock and roll mecca right now. It's kind of crazy. I would say that, you know, and Detroit's kind of going back that direction too. So, you know, other than Europe, in Europe you've got London, of course, has everything, and for the States, I think it's becoming Nashville, and I think Detroit's like right behind them. Okay. You know, and LA is always going to have a little bit, but you know, it's really, so many people are moving to Nashville. Sylvain from the New York Dolls just moved there. Cheetah Chrome from the Dead Boys moved there. So a lot of people are moving there. So it's going to be great to do this whole like issue on Nashville too. You know, the whole rock and roll scene that's happening now.
So you think every issue is going to have around 6 bands?
Every issue will have like 6 musicians, 6 bands. They'll get, like I said, a 6-page editorial. And an editorial, like, I want to keep their style. Like, there's certain bands out there that I love their style. So I wouldn't want to change it, you know, even though we're going to use stylists and stuff like that. Like, some of them do more the vintage, so we'll use vintage houses as our stylists. But they will get a 6-page editorial. So it's all a fashion spread on them, and then they get to be interviewed, and they can talk about like anything new coming up for them, a tour coming up, you know, a record coming out, anything they want to talk about. But they'll have the fashion side also, still rock and roll. So yeah, I'm guessing anywhere between 5 and 7 in every issue, depending. And then this issue, we're not sure who's going to be on the cover, but we're hoping to have. I like bands that are like the new up-and-coming bands. And one of the reasons I got into this was because I read NME like weekly, and I study like what bands, you know, who's this band, who's that band. And I look them up, and it's like, oh my God. And you put so many good bands out there now. Like, the music scene is really coming back again. And I really want to focus on, you know, I mean, I'll have some big name bands too, but I really want to focus on these bands that are, you know, they're getting ready to just take off, but they're just not there yet, but they're almost there. And because it also gives people the promotion for them. It tells people about these, you know, great bands, because everyone's like, oh, there's no good music anymore. And there's so much good music out there right now.
It's just not popular.
Yeah, it's just not, it might not be. And in London, it is, you know, like there's these bands over there that we just don't know about over here. And I want to make it to where America knows about these great bands, you know, that are happening in Sweden and Denmark and London. Those seem to be the 3 places where really great bands are coming out of right now. So it's my way of bringing my love for music, fashion, makeup, you know, everything, it all into one magazine. And eventually I'm hoping to go paper, but it just seems like paper's kind of dying out now with all the recycling and everybody, you know, now caring about
Kindle.
The world. Yeah, Kindle.
For example.
Something like Kindle is a good thing to do, you know? And a lot of people are doing that instead of books. So that's a really great idea, actually.
Yeah.
I actually really like
or
that.
Or even app for the
yeah,
phone.
I do. I was thinking that too.
Download the app and you get like fresh issues.
Exactly, yeah. And right now it's gonna be, the first issue is, we're not charging for it, you know? It's like, actually even advertising for the first issue, we're not making anybody pay to go into the magazine. After that, it'll be like, you know, paying for advertising and then subscription and stuff like that. But the first one, I just really want to get it out there so that people see it. And I kind of want to give a few people a break also. You know, there's a few companies out there that people don't know about that you know, or a few people know, but I really think they need to be out there, you know. Some clothing designers and stuff, and guitar makers, and like, so yeah, it's gonna be amazing. But it's a go-to for everything. It'll be a go-to for all the musicians to, you know.
So exactly, who's gonna be your client? Who's gonna be the person that actually reads your magazine?
I think that the person that's obviously they're gonna be into music, you know, because it is a music. But like, you know, it is a rock and roll magazine. But I'm also like, I will like focus on. It's not just strictly like, you know, in-your-face rock. There'll be punk, there'll be rockabilly. There's a country, you know, person that I'm actually looking at right now too. So it's all music. So it's going to be guys that either are into music or they have a fashion sense, but they're not a GQ guy. You know, they are more of, you know, they care. They when they leave the house, they're not just wearing like, you know, shorts and flip-flops. They want to look and be like, wow, okay, wait, there's this kind of clothing out there for me? Because a lot of guys don't know that. And I actually talked to a friend of mine about that, and he's very stylish, you know, and he was like, finally, there's something out there where you don't look like a gas station attendant, you know, because so many guys, it's like that's what it's like. And you don't have to. and this will tell you where to go to buy these clothing, this clothing, and it'll show you it put together of how you can put it together, just like we do when we look at a women's fashion magazine.